We also now have Siri AI. It's finally here. Everybody's super excited. And one of the cool things is it now lives inside Spotlight. Why does it live inside Spotlight? Because they rebuilt the Spotlight indexing from scratch, they said. We'll get a little bit more into that later. But essentially, the reason Siri can so easily access all of your on-device information is because it's accessing it through the same portal that you access it through Spotlight, and Spotlight is now so much better. So let me try to find one of my research documents for this script. macOS 27 research document. So Spotlight can't find it. I will ask Siri to find it. And you can see I have my power metrics on here. This is actually running on device right now, the on-device Siri. And these are indeed the 3 documents I was using. In fact, I have the 1 document open on my left there. That is really good. Wow. So that brings me to talking about the actual on-device Siri. They're using their own special... That probably wrecked a lot of my video. That hat probably made shadows on my face. Anyways. That brings me to talking about the on-device Siri. It's using what they call a sparse... What did they call it? Sparse something model? It doesn't matter. What's important to you is that you can actually run a more powerful model on a lesser system using this technology. This will only be available for M3 and up with 16 gigabytes of RAM or more. So that includes my laptop. If it needs to do something that needs more power than that model can provide, it will send it off to private cloud compute. Not Gemini. There are so many people and so many other YouTubers talking about how they're using Gemini for private cloud compute. If you hear somebody say that, honestly, take into question everything they've ever told you, because Apple could not have been more clear that it is not Gemini. They never once said it was Gemini in the announcement. In fact, they said it was built using Gemini's help, meaning they were distilling Gemini or using it to help train. But they said that it is 100% an Apple model. And then they even went on to further clarify after people started saying Gemini was powering private cloud compute. They further clarified that it is not, and people are still saying that it is. If anybody says that, just honestly ignore the whole video because they haven't done their research. That really kind of bothers me. So let's do a little bit more Siri AI things. So maybe I can say, how long is Jillian going to be at Blue Mountain for? So my girlfriend's on a trip right now. Let's just say I forgot when she's coming back. I ask Siri. When it hands something off to private cloud compute, at least from what I understand, it doesn't just hand off the whole request. It hands off the bits and pieces that it doesn't understand. So for the most part, the actual on-device stuff, you know, your personal information, isn't actually being handed out there. For example, if I say, hey, I want to make a recipe using oranges and I want to send it to Jillian, it's not sending the whole prompt out. It's just going and saying, can you give me a recipe for oranges? And then it's doing the rest itself. It's just handing off the pieces that it doesn't know. So, couldn't find it. Let me give it one more try here. I mean, let's be very real here. That's a failure. It should have, you know, if it worked, it worked. At this point, I could have just went and found it myself, but I just want to try. I think yeah. So it did find it in the end, but it failed to at first. Let me see. And then let's do just for fun. How many R's are in strawberry? I know this is kind of outdated now, like they can all do this now, but let's just see. 3 R's in strawberry. Yeah, that's true. Anyways, I got confused. But there are some other AI features that aren't just Siri. So let's go to Photos, and I'll show you some of the really, really cool ones. I think this is, you know, there's so much potential here. Here's a really bad photo of me from when I got absolutely drenched in the rain. My backpack, which is the Peak Design V1 backpack, stayed totally dry in case you were thinking about buying that backpack. I might do a review on it. But anyways, so we have 3 options. There's Cleanup, which we had in macOS 26, but it has been improved. So here's Extend. This will use the private cloud compute, and it will allow you to extend the frame. So let's say I didn't want it to be so, close up, right? I wanted a much wider shot. So this is about as wide as I can go. And it's going to use private cloud compute. So seems like there's a little something happening on device. We're getting tiny little GPU usage. Probably actually literally just to render this little blurred background effect. Holy shit. That's good. That's actually what that hallway looks like. Just keep in mind, that's what it was. That's kind of scary, actually. I don't know if you had showed me that photo, especially if it didn't have my arms in it. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to tell. Wow. But I'll now show you probably the most unique and coolest thing Apple has done in a really, really long time. They're using the information and the data they've collected and the research they've done for the Apple Vision Pro, and they've created this. They call it Reframe. So it's going to scan through here, and no joke, okay? I'm going to change the angle, and I'm going to change the pan. Now, obviously, the further you go, the worse it ends up. So I'm actually just going to pull back the end. So let's say I wish I took it at that angle. Here we go. But you can kind of preview it as you do it. Wow. Like, that's good for what a dramatic change on a close-up I made. Wow. That's good. So let me show you on another one. Here's another terrible photo of me. If you can't tell, I take exclusively terrible photos of myself. This one was just to see what those glasses looked like. The Even Realities glasses that I did the review on. If you haven't seen that review, fuck you. I'm kidding. Ouch. So let's do a bit of cleanup. Let's say this tree here. And I'm going to do high quality. Let's give it the best chance that it can do. I don't like this friggin' tree. This tree just wrecks my video. Yeah, get rid of that tree. So, takes a bit of time. It is still running on device. Even the high quality one. I think this is clearly running on device. Look at the GPU is maxed out. Gone. And you know what? It looks really, really good. Wow, did a great job. So then let's do extend frame. I'm interested in this one because we've got here a car. So like it can't really generate anything past that, I don't think. But here we have an open door. And then here there'd be a dashboard. But obviously it won't possibly know any of that. So we're just going to take it to the maximum. And again, I want you guys to remember, I'm pushing this like way to its limit. Nobody would really genuinely use it like this. I'm telling you how far you can push it at most. It's not going to give you the highest quality result. Please don't be in the comments being like, wow, this is dog shit. It looks like dog shit. Obviously, it's going to look like dog shit. I just extended it like this far, and I'm in a car. Whoa. Okay, so obviously you can tell based on like this here that this is not real. Holy shit though. If you'd never seen a car before, like okay, what I mean is look at this. You've got this tree here that's been generated. That wasn't there before. It just knows based on all of this that there should be a tree. Like, dude, the understanding of where things should be is scary, really. Did it do that based on this tiny little information that there was a tree there? Wow, that's good. Wow, that's good. Okay. Let's try reframe. So it's going to do a little bit of generative extend too. So we're going to zoom out a bit. But let's say I wish I took it from over here, from an angle like that. I wish I was just off to the side. Jeez Christ, look at my ear. So I think it's going to wreck my ear, but I want to see what it does here. So it wrecked my ear, and this doesn't look as good as the other ones, but it looks damn good. It looks damn good for what I'm doing. Wow. So keep in mind, guys, that's how the photo was taken. wow. Better than I even thought it was going to be, and I've used it already, and wow. And that can also run on your Apple Intelligence phones, which might be a bigger deal for people on a phone. So we also have an overhauled image playground. So in Image Playground, you now don't just have, you know, those built-in basic styles, animation, illustration, sketch, or Genmoji. You can still use ChatGPT, but now you also have any style. So I'm going to make this really quick because I don't care much about it. Generate a photo of a rocket ship launching off of the water. Photorealistic. Now, there are going to be daily caps for the more powerful ways that you generate these. For example, I assume photorealistic, but you'll notice I use the keyword there, I assume. We haven't been told much about this. We know you'll get better access to it, or like more access to it if you have an iCloud tier, which I do, but that's all we kind of know. This is pretty good. That's not bad. And I think it runs, for the photorealistic ones, I think it runs in private cloud compute. And then, of course, for Genmoji, it runs on device. So let's try the improved Genmoji. Little Easter egg, rabbit holding a carrot. So it should be faster and better, it says. So far, I don't know if it's fast. Okay, it's faster. Yay, I have an emoji. I really don't give a fuck about that stuff. Anyways, then you've got reminders and calendar now have natural language input. Clean my room tomorrow at 8 p.m. Title, clean my room. Yeah, so it did it that time. Okay, so the thing is, you can't just type it and then click enter. You have to click on the thing. That makes sense to me. Like, I wouldn't want it to hijack what I'm writing if that's actually what I wanted to be writing. Pretty simple there. I think that's a pretty... Like, that's the kind of thing that you kind of have to have now that an LLM as a thing is a thing. You need natural text input for stuff like that. I think that's a minimum. AI file naming. Okay, I'm going to rename this. Any suggestions? Suggested screen recordings. They are screen recordings. Okay. How about this one? Rename. Any suggestions? Grandpa's photos. Okay, pretty good. So, I mean, that's another thing that's kind of overdue. Or maybe the word's not overdue, but like, I don't consider that to be a big groundbreaking feature. I think with the invention of, you know, on-device LLMs, I think every operating system kind of needs to have that. So, let's get into some of the first-party app updates, like Safari. Yay! I really do like Safari. I use it all the time. And now there is automatic tab grouping. What does that mean? I'll show you. Let's say I have two projects going on. I'm doing a video on the Rabbit R1 and OpenClaw. So here's Rabbit R1, Rabbit R1, Rabbit R1, Rabbit R1, Rabbit R1. So this is all to do with the Rabbit R1. And then now I am going to search up stuff about the iPhone 13. I didn't even spell that right. iPhone 13, 13, 13, iPhone 13, iPhone 13, and look at this. Just like that, it's categorized it into Rabbit R1 OpenClaw, and there it goes. It just clicked in and it categorized to iPhone 13, and you can see it's kind of working here as I go. Like, it hasn't finished categorizing everything. Like, this is obviously iPhone 13 and it just categorized it into that. So now it's got them all. Rabbit R1, OpenClaw, and iPhone 13. And this is just a really, really great feature if you keep a lot of tabs open all the time, because it automatically sorts them into these tab groups. You just click on the tab group, it expands the tabs, close the tab group, whatever. It's awesome. I love it. I'm getting a lot of use out of that. I think that alone is actually worth the upgrade to macOS 27, to be honest with you. Notify me, so let me go to Token Concert Tickets. If you don't know who Token is, he is my favorite artist. And these tickets just went on sale, but none of them are in Canada yet. Token, if you're watching this, he's not watching this video, but if you are somehow watching this video, Toronto, dude, come to Toronto. So look for Canadian tickets. There we go. And just like that, every single day at 5:50 p.m., it is going to check to see if there are now Canadian tickets available on that website. And when there is, it'll send me a notification. Super, super sick. It cannot do anything on a website that makes you log in, because it has to be able to access it like privately without your login credentials. So there's the limitation there. I don't think it will always be that way though, because for example, the Passwords app can now change your passwords for you by logging in, like it's using an AI agent, so that's really cool. I'm not showing you that because I'm not showing you my password. So Extension Builder is pretty cool. Let me go to Wikipedia. English, fired at a pub in Bangkok. So you can describe an extension. I'm just going to use one of the ones it has here. So create a 3-minute focus timer for the page. Go for it. And what it's going to do is it's essentially like vibe coding, not like vibe coding, it is vibe coding. But one of the really cool things is it'll tell you, hey, there's already extensions available that someone already made. They might have done a better job. Do you want to try out one of these extensions? In this case, I'm going to say, no, I'd like you to make one. But I think that's really cool because it doesn't take away from developers. In fact, that probably adds a lot of value for those developers because now they're getting more eyes on their extensions. And honestly, I would never think to go look for an extension most of the time. So let's see, it created an extension. Let's try this timer. So there we go. And you can see there, it's a timer. Click it again, it goes away. So, I mean, that's cool. Now, there is also the new shortcuts natural language model. So, natural language building whatever. What do I want my shortcut to do? So this is something really simple. I just want it to set up my, open Final Cut Pro for my editing, open the little audio thing that I use to stay focused, and then also turn on reduce interruptions. It asks me which Final Cut Pro I'd like to update, the Creative Cloud version. No, that's what it'll be. I don't remember what they call their subscription. There we go. It did it. Super easy, super quick. If you've never used shortcuts, they're really, really cool. My brother uses them to play this stupid audio every time he plugs his phone in. I don't get it, but whatever. iPhone mirroring. Finally got some fixes, so you can now freeform your iPhone app to whatever size you want. Sidecar, you can now use the iPad's touchscreen in order to control the MacBook. Probably because there is a touchscreen MacBook coming, I assume. And really important for me, and this is totally 100%, like I feel the difference, faster AirDrop. I use AirDrop nonstop, and I totally feel the difference on this. I can't show you any of those things though, because I'm actually using my iPhone to record this video, so you're just gonna have to trust me on that. Now, I have to read these off a spec sheet because I don't remember the actual numbers, but with Game Porting Toolkit 4, you can now translate DirectX 12 titles, including like frame generation, over into Metal 4, and it can run its own frame interpolation, whatever. You get much better performance even without those fancy like frame generation and upscaling and all that. It's just like a better translation overall. So with Macworld's hands-on on an M4 Pro MacBook Pro with 24 gigabytes of RAM, GTA 5 went from 106 FPS to 176 SPF, roughly about a 66% jump. The really cool Andrew Tsai, I think is how you say it. I love his videos. He benchmarked over 20 Windows titles. So Black Myth Wukong, for example, went from 60 FPS to 80 FPS on an M3 Max. Red Dead Redemption 2 was 25% more frames on the MacBook Neo. Blah, 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 blah. You kind of get the point. Not every game gets the same performance boost, but there are a lot of games that get massive performance boosts. Anecdotally, I can now play Red Dead Redemption 2 on medium-ish settings on my MacBook Air M3, and it doesn't even have frame generation. I wish it had frame generation. That would be so clutch for me, but it doesn't. Or at least I can't figure out how to do it. And if you are a developer, something that's really, really cool is if you're what they classify as a small developer, which means you do under $1 million of revenue or you have under 2 million downloads, you get the Apple private cloud compute models with no API cost. Like, you don't have to pay for it. That is really cool. Because obviously they're wanting people to integrate these features into their own apps. I think that's really cool and, dare I say, generous.